everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Tiffany, and my husband and I are the owners of Creative Designs by Tiffany, a floral shop and event space in upstate New York. While we'll continue to talk about the original flowers and floral arranging, we're expanding to talk about everything I love and nothing that I don't. Thanks for giving us a listen. And today we're joined by Dave Warner, producer.
You don't have that thing memorized yet?
I don't. I almost do, but I'm afraid I'm going to forget. This one
you want me
to
get a teleprompter for you? Help
right
you out
behind,
there?
Right behind
I can do that.
That would be cool. That would be very cool.
All right.
Very official at that point.
I can do it.
And this is so last time we talked about flowers. Now we're going back to the things that I love and nothing that I don't. And that is today we have Colin Hawk, who is a former baseball player. He's here today with us, and we're going to go through the whole thing because I was trying to research. I told Dave I got to research exactly when you played. I think I have it down, but I'm not really sure. So first off, Colin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Good to see you again, by the way.
I know. How many years has it been? Probably 8 years?
Oh, don't do that to me.
I know.
You were on the 2017 championship team or the 2015?
Oh goodness, it was 2015 because I graduated in 16. But I was in upstate for Little Falls for 2 summers.
That's what I thought.
So I want to say it was the summer of 2014 and maybe the summer of 2015 and 2016.
2015 and 2016.
Because I know Travis said that. When I said Colin was going to be in the show, he's like, I was on the 2015 championship team.
He was.
It might have been 2014, 2015, because now that I'm thinking about it, if I graduated in 2016, I would have probably played the year prior. So
yeah.
Okay.
And that was, so you were the championship team, the first championship team that we ever had here. Blake Nation was your coach that year. Do you remember if you had a different coach too? That'll pick up if you had anybody else.
No, it was always
Blake. Okay.
So
yeah, I think
so. It was 14-15.
Yeah, I think it was 14-15.
Yeah, it was 14-15 because we had Joey Witkowski.
Yes.
For the 14th, and then good old Coach Lubes.
Oh my goodness, Coach Luby, who now is the head coach, and he has been for a few years. So I don't know if you followed DiamondDawgs through the years since you've been done, because you've been pretty busy.
I do. I followed on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Good.
I always see Travis's posts.
Awesome. Well, see, that's kind of like it's a cool alumni over the years that have been brought back, and you figure out where everybody's been and stuff, and so that's why I wanted to have you on, because you kind of gotten into the music stuff, and you're married now. Congratulations, and you have a little girl. Is that right? So how cool is that? So tell me a little bit about where you're at now after kind of leaving DiamondDawgs, getting married. What's going on now?
So when I went to play for you guys, I was moving back. I think my first year I was transferring. I think I was going back home to Indianapolis. Went to University of Indianapolis, graduated from there, had a few odd jobs. I've been in this role. I'm in IT sales right now, so I've been here for about 4.5 years, but met my wife 5 years ago. 5 years. Don't quote me on it. She might kill me.
We're going to replay this over and over on a loop.
I know.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago, we've been married. We're coming up on our 2-year wedding anniversary here in a couple weeks. We have an 11-month-old daughter. She's about to be 1.
Who's the cutest, by the way?
Oh my God.
The sweetest.
Always have pictures.
She is adorable. So yes.
Yeah. She's growing. She's smart as can be. She's a little sponge. She's learning everything. She's learning things every day. It's absolutely insane. I feel like it was just kind of in the last couple of months, it's like constantly she has a new skill, or she's learning something new, or she's mocking us or doing whatever. But she's she has those what are they, just Pillsbury Doughboy?
Yeah. Well,
everywhere.
The little chunks, they're so cute. They're so cute.
The baby fat.
Yes, the baby fat. So
I know she's not getting rid of it, by the way.
Yeah. Yes. Well, just wait like 15 years, and then when she's like, you'll be like, oh, I wish she still had those little baby chunks here. So
no, she's moving around like crazy. She doesn't stop moving. So I'm like, she's starting to thin out in her like midsection. Mm-hmm. But she's not losing it in the arms or legs. And I'm like, please keep it.
How sweet. Well, and then what else are you doing then? So musically wise, it's kind of where I saw that you're at right now. And you have done a couple of songs that I just am like kind of addicted to, honestly. They have that cool sound and like background. I use it a couple times for the store and stuff. So explain a little bit about that, and then kind of what you're doing like day job too and stuff.
Yeah. So from a music perspective, it all started through COVID. Yeah. I mean, as anybody, where you get locked in the house and you're bored, you don't know what to do. I've always played and sang probably since high school. So, I mean, it's been over 10, 12 years ago, but me and my wife, I always tell this story. I mean, COVID, nobody had anything to do other than just to sit in your house and probably drink. So we probably had a little bit too much to drink one night, and we were supposed to go to a Luke Combs concert. I think it was like May that year, 2020, and it got canceled due to COVID. We started drinking. Probably had a little bit too much, like I said. And, I put on like a PFG fishing shirt, threw on a hat, threw on some boots, joking around. I just got in front of a mic, and she recorded and sang, and she's like, "Hey, I think you should post this." And I was like, I don't know about that. And sure enough, I mean, liquid encouragement, I guess you could call it. I posted the video, got some pretty good feedback. And so I just kept doing that. I was posting a bunch of covers online. Couldn't do anything. Obviously, bars were closed. Everything was kind of shut down. But once everything started opening up, I started doing some shows. I started writing my own music. Have a buddy that I write with here locally. It's moving down to Nashville, and put out some songs. I think I have like 4 out now. But yeah, doing a bunch of cool things, traveling, staying in Indy. The farthest I've gone is Arizona. But yeah, what questions do you have?
I tell you, I listened to those songs, and you have got a smooth friggin' voice. It sounds good. No, really. I mean, I love country anyway, and it's got just that smooth kind of country feel to it to me.
I put all the thanks to my producer. I guess I'll do that. He makes me sound a lot better than I actually am.
That's awesome.
They all do, right?
That's really cool.
Have to.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's why Dave's here today with me. So in case I get off track, he can guide us right back into it.
He can bring you back.
He brings us right back to it. So that's kind of what I wondered too. So I had heard a lot of your covers that you did, but then when you started writing the music too, and then you're in Indianapolis. You grew up in Indiana too. So what's that kind of like living back where you grew up and doing the music thing? Do you love it, or is it kind of hard? Or
No, I love it. I mean, Indianapolis is great. I think when people think of Indianapolis, you think of cornfields and just flat.
Yep.
It is true. It is flat as can be. There are cornfields everywhere. But I mean, we live pretty close to the city. We're like 20 minutes. So I mean, you have everything you can here. And also my entire family's here too. So it's kind of easy when my wife and I want to go do something or have a quick date night. We can kind of call all the in-laws or my parents and say, "Hey, can we pawn off Josie an hour or two?" So it's pretty easy. Our entire family's here. She's born and raised here. I'm born and raised here, and
that's really cool.
Don't plan on moving.
Yes, awesome. Well, that's good to hear.
Not going to Nashville?
No, opportunity presents itself, but I mean, you got a full-time job and you got a baby. It's kind of tough.
The responsible thing, which is a really cool thing. Now, how old are you? Are you just about 30?
Almost 30.
Almost 30. Okay, so you're being pretty responsible. Yeah,
We're pushing there. My back's been giving out and my knees have been giving out.
All residuals from doing baseball, or do you think it's a kind of just old age now?
Old age.
Old age. Yeah.
I was always. I mean, I would say I was always pretty lucky when it came to baseball. I never was really injured. I was probably hurt once or twice in my entire baseball career.
Which is cool. Very, very cool.
So I mean, very fortunate.
So, all right, we're going to circle back to the baseball thing because everybody, like I said on this podcast numerous times, everybody knows me from the baseball team. So we're going to tap into that a little bit. So when you were playing here, you were the 2015 championship team, which I have to mention that because obviously Travis is going to go nuts when he hears that. So what was Travis? Yeah, exactly. You're his hype team. You're totally his hype team. So what was that like being on that championship team? Because there are not a lot of kids I can talk to about that. So what was that like? And for here, even,
Yeah, it was crazy because when I decided I wanted to go back, I will say the biggest reason why I chose to go back to Mohawk Valley, or I guess Little Falls DiamondDawgs, was probably Blake Nation. Mm-hmm. Honestly, yep. I mean, very player friendly coach. Everybody could probably attest to that. Absolutely. He was just a cool guy in general. Yep. Came back, and honestly, the run was pretty insane. Now, again, this was not 8 years ago, the last time I'm trying to think back in my memory tank here. I believe when we got to the playoffs, obviously regular season a lot different. We obviously had playoff appearance, but I think we lost our first game. And I think the Amsterdam technically was the best team in the league. When it came just like overall record and whatnot. And I don't know if we played them the first series or not. I have to go back and look, but I remember when we lost the first game, we're like, okay. Because the next pitcher that we were facing, I don't think we ever really did well against him. So we're like, okay, well, let's just figure it out. We'll see what we can do. And really, I mean, we ended up winning that game. I'm not trying to say that we didn't care to win, but I think a lot of the pressure was off because we're like, hey, we thought we played really well the first game. They were a solid team. So we're like, hey, okay, we'll go out and just see what happens. And I think we came out and I think we actually beat them pretty well. And then we ended up winning the third game. And then we just rolled through the playoffs. And then it was just insane. It just felt like it was kind of harder to try to lose. I felt like we were just doing everything. We were all hitting on the right cylinders. Everybody was hitting the ball. Pitchers were executing. It was just insane. Yep. It was a hell of a run. Thinking you were going to go home probably mid-July, and then you ended up staying like an extra 3 weeks to finish out the season. It was pretty nice. But I still talk to some of the guys today, and the camaraderie was always great. And now you see everybody up and doing their own thing in life.
That's awesome. Well, good. Well, and that's one thing that I always said over the years with the teams, that I always like the underdog teams, the teams that didn't come in, they weren't cocky, they didn't think they had it all handed to them. They worked really hard for it, because they usually ended up towards the end coming back in that season and usually winning something pretty big, which like that year was the championship. So that is really cool. Now, how do you think that this baseball kind of played a role in where you are today? Did it give you any help in it, or had nothing to do with it, do you think?
Yeah, I get this question not all the time, but I do get it a little bit. I think if we're going to relate baseball to the music side, I think just the competitive nature, the kind of will to want to be better at something. I think it kind of I think the music piece really kind of took over how I felt about baseball. Obviously, I love baseball. I wanted to work hard at it. I wanted to be the best I could be at it. And I think that kind of transitioned to my love for music. It doesn't obviously correlate as much, right? But I think similar to baseball, the more you do it, the better you're going to be at it. The more you write, the better you're going to be at it. So I think they kind of tie hand in hand. So I think it's helped unknowingly, I guess subconsciously for me.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So now writing, what got you into the writing as compared to covering? Covering's pretty, I'm not a musician, but covering you'd think is pretty easy. You're doing the same thing that they did. You're doing your twist on it. So writing, that's a whole new element, right? Because you have more like your heart's in it, right? Or there's somewhere you're coming from. So what was that for you,
I think for me, it was probably the competitive nature of, hey, I wanted something of my own. Like you said, I was always doing the covers and they're fun, but it kind of gets to a point where it's like, hey, I'm constantly playing these covers. I'm constantly doing it the same way. People already know this song. It's cool when people sing back songs that you're covering, just because you can kind of hear the crowd singing back to you. That's always a really cool feeling. But I've always kind of dreamt of, hey, can somebody sing my songs back to me?
That's cool.
I started writing, like I mentioned, a friend of mine that's moving to Nashville. His name's Bryson. I'll never forget. I think it was probably August or September of 2020. He was actually having a show that he was releasing for an album. I think it was in October. And he's like, hey, I'd love for you to hop on the show. You can open for me. We can kind of do the whole thing. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. We finished the show. I played all covers and it was really cool. And I was like, as soon as that show was over, I walked up to him like, hey, I want to write my first song. I think that would be the coolest thing. Cause he did the entire show. He'd had some covers, but he was doing his entire album or EP or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, that is freaking cool.
That's so nice.
I was like, hey, let's write a song. We sat down like a week later, wrote the first song. It was Home. That's out on all platforms. So wrote that song, and then I've just been writing ever since.
That's cool. So one thing, like I said, I kind of had to do my research. So I was scrolling on your Instagram, and so where you have your wedding video, there is a song that it kind of overlays on it. Now, did you write that for your wedding, specifically for your wife, or did you just kind of write it as a love song, and then later you guys were like, hey, we should use this?
Yeah, so that's the song I was talking about, Home. Awesome. That was the first song I wrote. Cool. And when we wrote it, it wasn't necessarily meant to be a wedding song for us. We actually danced that was our first dance song for our wedding. I really just wrote that song as a timeline of my life of what we wanted to happen. And it's actually really cool. I say this at all my shows. Everything in that song that I mentioned that I wrote back in 2020 now has all come to fruition today. That's so cool. It's kind of cool. I mean, you talk about kind of growing old with her. You're talking about having a baby. You talk about building a house and all your grandkids. Obviously, the grandkids thing hasn't happened. But everything kind of leading up to that has all happened. So it was actually really, it's a special song to me and my wife. And I think I'll never remember, or I'll never forget. She was like, we were picking out songs, what she wanted to do. She had a couple ideas and I had a couple ideas, and she's like, what if we do your song for our first dance? I was like, I don't know, up to you. And I think she made the executive decision.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, and then I saw there was one that like you sang at someone else's wedding too. Like that's got to be pretty special on top of it too.
Yeah.
And you know, I can't imagine. I got goosebumps thinking about it. Like, how cool would that be to have a song written for you for your wedding? You know, there's nothing like that. So, kudos on that. So, now I guess I'm trying to think now how we're gonna transition this. So, I mean, do you have any kind of advice, I guess I would say? You know, you're working still, you are writing. Do you have aspirations to like go full time on this gig, or you have a reality like that you have a daughter, you have a wife, you have a house now? So what's that kind of look like for you? You know, is it weekends, or are you trying to transition, or are you just good with where you are right now?
Yeah, so I would say like right now I'm good where I'm at. I think cool. I'm very fortunate to have a company that allows me to be flexible when I do have shows that happen to be on a weekday.
Awesome.
Pretty flexible, and let me do basically pursuing it. Our boss is always like, hey, if you have aspirations outside of here that you just want to pursue, obviously from like I guess it's your own hobbies, then he'll let us do that. Obviously he sees mental health as a perfect, and it's definitely a good time away. Yeah. Obviously we work all day, every day. We come in the office 5 days a week. So kind of a little step away and kind of refresh your mind is always good. Now, when it comes to doing it full time, I would love to do it full time. If that opportunity presented itself, awesome. Yeah. But being more realistic, there's a lot of people that are pursuing it. There's a lot of people that are way better than I am. There's a lot of people that write a lot more than I do. I think the biggest thing for me is, hey, can I do it enough here locally where it makes sense? And if the opportunity presents itself, really the only thing I would say if I was going to make it, I would have to be super, super, super lucky. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
what constitutes that luck though? Why do some make it and some not?
I don't know. I wish I had that answer. If I had that answer for you, I would probably be doing whatever I could do.
I wondered if there was is it contacts that you have, or is it like networking and things like that, or is there a magic formula?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think the networking piece is obviously huge. I think the more you write, the better you get. I think location wise has something to do with it. Obviously, if you're in Nashville, you are with and around a bunch of amazing musicians. You're writing with the best, you're networking. You happen to have a song that you wrote that you had a buddy knows somebody big in the music industry, and you're like, hey, you should probably check this out. So I think that plays a big part in it. But I don't know the magic formula. Some people get lucky off social media and you have a video that blows up.
Yeah.
That's who is it? The kid that just had I don't know his name. Bailey something. He just had he was like a TikTok star or something, and then it just kind of blew up or whatever. Oh. So
cool little contact, little story on that. I actually met Bailey last year, but the person that produces all his music, named Austin Sean, he's done all my songs on Spotify. So we actually share the same producer.
Awesome. How cool is that?
Yeah. Well, see, there's one of your connections.
Yeah.
It doesn't help me out at all. I wrote songs, and I would message Austin, who's our producer, and I would just say, hey, do you think Bailey would like this song? Do you think he would sound good? And he's like, he's got a lot of, Bailey's signed with major record labels, and he's got songs coming at him constantly, and it could be under contract where he's like, hey, I have to use these songwriters. Yeah. So, but I've definitely tried that avenue.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, keep knocking on the doors. Let us know if you get through there and stuff, and then I'll circle back and have you on here and be like, look, I knew before that whole process started.
Hey, you knew me 8 years ago.
Yeah. 9 years ago. That's it. Well, and that's the thing too, is that I'm like, I love watching everybody's journey as they kind of leave, the ones that I kind of keep up with and stuff. And it's just so cool to see like how, reality sets in. And then like for you have a wife, you have a daughter, you have a reality that's really like, you like doing the dream thing, but you can't really do it all the way yet. So you have a reality of it. And I think that's cool. I think it's inspiring because a lot of people are like that, and even back when you were here at baseball, you were just concentrating on baseball. That was the dream, right? And so.
Well, you were yelling at me trying to get those signs up across the town.
I was. That was it. And, that's the funny thing with Colin. Colin had a little bit of sass on him when he was here. So I hope you still have that sass when you're here.
I did. Tiffany would boss me around. She would yell at me and say, hey, the sign's not hung up a certain way. Yep. I'm like, it's tough, isn't it?
Yep, it's true. Well, I remember when you came back to it, I was like, oh, no, it's Colin again.
Whatever. You didn't think of me that way.
It's good, though. It's good, though. See, it prepared you for life, right? So all these little things.
I think I annoyed you to the point of, hey, can you just get the signs up? Yeah. But I think we had a different relationship because obviously I was talking to you every day.
Yes.
And I was seeing you every day.
Yep.
And you're bossing me around. And I was just trying to, basically I was like, hey, can you give me this $10 so I can have for beer?
Yes. Yep. It's true. It's very true. So I think that was when we enlisted some of the players because we couldn't get everything done too. So you got a little job, like a real job, I think, with us. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Balancing, balancing it with it too. So I have to go down to one of your hobbies that I just saw on a funny little Instagram thing. Is it golf now? And then you have a very funny friend that you guys do a couple of, it's not really podcasts, maybe they're podcasts. I don't know. They're like shorts. So tell me a little bit about that because I think it's very fascinating too. Are you a golfer or is this just like he pulled you and he's like, let's golf?
Oh no, I literally try to golf as often as I can when the wife allows it.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not saying she puts a stamp on it, but obviously happy wife, happy life.
Yes, exactly.
So I have a friend that actually works in this office. I'll give him a little plug, Taylor Tijerina. Follow him on everywhere. He's hilarious.
He is hilarious. I will say he's got some funny bids on there. And then when I saw you with him doing the golf thing, I was like, I got to ask you about it. So
yeah, he's social media famous. So he has a lot of opportunities. We call him famous. He's like, I'm not famous. But I'm like, dude, you have, I think over all platforms, he's got over like 900,000 followers.
Oh, that's pretty famous.
That's a ton.
Yep.
So he was making it a push for himself to kind of expand in the YouTube game.
Okay.
Because obviously you can make a killing off that. People do that full time. And there's a lot of different shows that we watch that are very similar. He's like, hey, I think I want to try to start something like this. And there's a lot of sponsorship opportunities and partnership opportunities that he gets from his social media following. And he's like, hey, do you want to try to make something out of this and try to do some comedy, sports? So it's called Dad's Day Out.
Awesome.
It doesn't have to be golf related. We want to golf more. So we're like, hey, let's golf as much as possible. But I think there's a lot of things like we could go bowling or we can vlog, like going to an NFL game.
That's
like,
so cool. Yep.
So we try not to silo ourselves, but we're like, hey, honey, we have to shoot a video for golf and like do a little wink,
Yep. That's awesome. Well, Dave's looking it up right now because they're funny little shorts and I think it's hysterical. So that's one of your hobbies now outside of obviously working and doing music and stuff and having a baby and having a wife. You still get to golf a little bit too. So, and obviously you're not playing baseball, right? At this point, or maybe a softball league or.
So I was in the softball league and I think I started playing and I was in it for like a whole summer, and I think 3 weeks into it, I'm completely done. Yeah. Like running, rolling my ankles, throwing a ball, and my arm is killing me for 2 months. Yep. I'm like, I probably should cut that out.
Yep.
It's not worth the aches and pains.
Yeah, get injured on that and never in 4 years playing collegiately in high school and all of that. That would be the worst, right? So
like majorly. Yeah, I never really had a major injury in college. So I was like,
that's awesome.
Let's not do it when I'm getting older because I probably won't recover.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, let me ask you. So, what do you have coming up? Like, do you have? I know around here, like locally, we probably wouldn't be able to see you, but do you have anything? If anybody's listening, that is closer to you. So, what's going on for you?
Yeah. So I have not a ton of shows in flight. They always seem to kind of hit at random sparks.
Okay.
I just played at the State Fair, Indiana State Fair.
I saw that. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I played there last Saturday. I have a show coming up on August 17th. Playing a couple local bars here in town. I'm trying to think if there's anything big that I have no shows announced that are massive. I would say there's one local country bar here, 8 Second Saloon. Gets a really good crowd. I think I'm trying to push for the John Langston opener. I don't know if you guys know John Langston, but
I don't. We'll look it up though after this. So
yeah, he's pretty well. I think he's well known. I don't think he's obviously like the Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen status, obviously, but pretty well known. He's coming to town. Me and Taylor for the YouTube show, we're actually golfing with him that morning.
Awesome.
So I'm trying to make a plug to the guy that runs the bar, saying, "Hey, I'm already playing with him. Can I just open for him at night?"
That's so cool.
So that's my 20th. So trying to plug my name there.
That's awesome. So do you have your own band then that you play with normally, or is it just you? Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So there's familiarity there and stuff. So is that the same band that recorded with you back when you did your first, song of your own, or has it kind of changed over the years?
Yeah, so it's evolved from the producing aspect. From what Austin does is very different. He does everything on his own. So everything from like a software related standpoint, from like drums and all that, he does it on its own. He does it literally through his computer. It's absolutely insane. He's so fast at it. It's incredible. I commend him tremendously. But he also hires out different musicians within the Nashville area saying, "Hey, I need a guitar solo on this," or "Hey, I need you to put a fiddle on this," or a steel guitar. But Austin's incredible. I mean, he does all the producing. He plays guitar, he plays lead guitar, he plays mandolin, he plays bass. I mean, he literally does it all. So he has a vision. I basically send him like a raw acoustic version saying, "Hey, here's my idea. Here's your thoughts. Let your imagination run wild." And he always executes.
That's awesome. Well, that's really cool.
So it's not really, I'm curious about that part of it, the producing part of it. So you don't.
Producer, by the way, he's a producer. So that's why he's asking these questions.
Yeah,
you picked my interest right there, especially on the music video side. I mean, you haven't done any music videos, right?
No.
Nope. I mean, so the idea is that he listens to that raw version of yours, and then he finds the musicians he thinks would fit the instruments that he thinks should go with it.
So it's pretty incredible. So I'll give him the song. He'll basically I'll send him over like a voice memo of me playing acoustic guitar on the song and singing to it. And I don't know how he does it. I wish I could explain, but he's like, "Hey, well, like, what's the type of feel that you're going for on this song?" And he basically just coordinates it all in his head, and he goes to his his computer,
right,
and basically just lays it all out. He puts the tempo on there. He puts different sounds to the tracks. Like I said, he plays bass, so he'll put the bass on there. He lays the drums down on first, and basically he gets the whole song created. And then he'll say, "Hey, here's a song. What do you think about it? Is this what you were going for?" And then we kind of communicate back and forth on, "Hey, yes, this is what I want." And then I'll go in and I'll record the songs.
Okay,
So,
I was going to say, and then you go in and record. So
yep.
What would happen then if
he builds it out from scratch?
Okay, so you would have that. Then how do you play it live? Do you have to find people who will play those same licks, kind of thing, live?
Yeah. So
yeah,
I have a full band. I basically give them all creative control. I'm not like, "Hey, this is how it needs to be."
Okay.
It's more collaborative. It's like, "Hey, here's my song. Here's what it sounds like." We just rehearse it and practice it, and kind of goes from there.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't realize that that's how it works either. So that's very cool. So, all right. So I got to ask you now, what is your social media handles and what are you on? Because I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but I don't know what else there is. So explain that to us.
Yeah. I think anything that you could probably find me from a music related standpoint is all Colin Hawk music.
Okay.
Search that. I'll probably be on all platforms: Instagram, Spotify, TikTok, Facebook, you name it.
Cool.
Colin Hawk music.
And
everywhere.
that's how they can download your singles that you have too on
Yep.
Spotify and all that. Okay, awesome.
Correct. Yeah, just go to Colin Hawk on Spotify or Apple Music, and I should have a profile that pops up. I only use Spotify, so I don't know how it looks for Apple Music, but it just pops.
It's like that's why I ask on the handles, and I'm like, I'm really not sure how they all work. So
you had a female voice on some of them too. Who was that?
I don't know if I did.
Maybe they gave me the wrong thing.
I don't know. You're gonna have to look it up.
It might have been a video on something, like a YouTube video, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at a lot of your stuff, so.
Yeah. What was your favorite song to write or song to cover? What has it been?
Song to write. Oh goodness, I think my favorite song that I've written was with a buddy, Bryson Cooper, again. We actually wrote this song called Truckin' a Problem. I won't go into the details of kind of what the
we can download it, right? We can download it and listen to it later.
You can download it. It's not, I didn't release it. So we had somebody reach out to, he's a local Indianapolis. Well, he lives down in Bloomington, Indiana, but his name's Jake Dodds, and he actually released that song. So Bryson and I wrote it, put it on social media. Jake ended up finding it. He's like, hey, I want that song. And we let him have it. And it kind of went from there.
That's pretty cool. Dave's got a puzzle.
Jake Dodds, that name just
the name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll look this up too.
Has he played? Yeah. Did he play at Rustic Ties?
I don't know.
He does travel around the country. He's mainly in Iowa, Chicago. Does go down to Nashville, but he's could have been.
Yeah, Rustic Ties is up by us. It's a little maybe 10 minutes from Little Falls here.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
That name is really familiar. So
yeah,
Jake Dodds.
Awesome. And he did one of your songs. So then what's one of your favorite ones that you've ever covered? I saw you did Leanne Womack's Hope You Dance. That was a tearjerker too. So
that wasn't my favorite to cover, but she reposted it on her TikTok, and that was insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was so cool.
That's so neat.
My favorite song to cover, Folsom Prison Blues, Johnny Cash. But cool. we do our own little twist on it. So obviously his is very quick, choppy. But I have a bunch of videos on social media of us doing Folsom Prison as a band, and we slow it up, we church it, blues it up. It's really cool. We put our own twist on it. And I think when people hear it, every time we open it up, I always play the beginning lick of it, like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
It always starts that way, like he does in the original, and then my keyboard player is incredible. Drew Schaefer, he's absolutely insane. I don't know. I could go on about that guy, but
well, we'll have to make a trip down to Indiana. I think that's what'll have to happen, unless you come up this way anytime soon. So we'll have to make a trip to Indiana.
If you have a place in upstate that would be willing to have us, then
hell yeah, we do. We got a great brewery here in Little Falls. He has live music every Friday and Saturday, and gets some great bands in there, and he gets some named bands. He's got one this weekend. I'm trying to think. Was it Saturday he's got?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm out of that loop kind of. Dave is in the loop though on all that stuff and who's coming in and stuff. So for sure, we'll definitely have to be on the lookout for it. And then you gave us your social media handles and stuff. So I'm going to end it here with a quick 30-second like this or that type of thing. I think I kind of prepped you on this. So Yankees or the Red Sox? Yankees or Red Sox? What do you think?
Ooh, Yankees.
Yankees. All right. Pizza or Riggies? Remember the Riggies here? Pizza or Riggies?
I don't know the Riggies, but I'm gonna go
gosh. Okay.
Oh, he wasn't here.
That pasta dish with the chicken, and it's like a vodka kind of sauce with it. Those are Riggies.
Oh, dang.
I feel like you would have had that like 10 out of 15 minutes you were here.
Yeah. I think I'm still going pizza.
Okay, still going pizza. All right. How about baseball or football?
Ooh. Right now, football.
Okay. All right. And you're a Colts fan, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, Colts fan.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Okay. All right. Hey, it's good to be faithful to the team, right? All right. So then another one, baseball or golf?
Golf.
Oh, golf. Come on.
All right. You never know.
I could have answered that.
Yeah, you never know.
Even way back when, golf all day.
Really?
Hey, Colin, it's JB Aaron who is playing here Saturday.
Okay. I'll have to look him up.
Yeah.
I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, pretty sweet. Well, thank you so much for being on, Colin. I don't want to take all your time. I know you're working here today, so I really appreciate you coming on. So,
he's doing his mental health thing. His boss is okay with this.
That's cool.
Cool. I'm getting away for a little bit.
Yes, yeah, that's awesome. Reminiscing a little bit too. It's been quite a few years since you've been in Little Falls, New York. So I'm sure it probably.
I know. I remember absolutely everything that happened in. What's that little? What's that little breakfast diner off Main? Is it Main Street?
That little place on Main is the diner.
That little place on Main.
Yep. Yep. And they.
Great. See those owners. They're obviously not going to know who I am. So tell them I give them a shout out.
Yeah.
We will. No. Good food.
You can eat a full course meal for like $8.
Yeah.
Yep. And where was your favorite place to eat when you were here? Do you remember?
Oh, that little place on Main.
Yeah, it was your favorite.
Okay. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
I'd go there for breakfast and every morning.
Awesome. Well, Little Falls is evolving a little bit, so if you're ever out this way, you'll have to see it. There's a few new things going on.
Hopefully some newer things.
Yeah, I know. Happening is still there. I just talked to somebody yesterday.
Yeah, it is.
Fun fact, I think I might be banned from there.
Really?
Yeah.
You are one of those kids that we
He's
used
one
to
of the
tell.
bad boys.
Yes, we
No,
used,
no. We were all there.
Uh-oh.
We were all there, and somebody came in that was underage and was drinking, so they banned us all.
Yep.
Oh.
That makes sense. See, this is what my bid was at the beginning of the season for all of them. Like, we know what's going on around town, but if we hear about it, that's shame on you guys. Like, you're 18, 19, 20, like, you got to hide it from us. And we had one kid one year that he had all these beer cans in the bottom of his dresser. So when room checks came out, we were like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I mean, how hard is it to go and bring those and deposit them, whatever? Yeah. Like, we don't need to see this. And then you're in a pickle because you're like, come on, So anyway, we have all seen it there. But yeah, hey, maybe new owners. I think they have new owners since you've been here.
But banned from the happening.
I look way different. I have somewhat of a beard and my hair is longer.
Yeah,
so you might not recognize me.
Yeah, you'll be good.
This is a line you can use, banned from the happening.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's a great title.
I know.
Clickbait.
Yeah. They're going to love it down there, too, whoever owns it now. So.
They will.
Well, thank you so much for being on today, Colin. I really appreciate it. So nice catching up with you. And for more information, you can check out him on all the social media platforms at Colin Hawk Music.
Colin Hawk Music,
right?
yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Perfect. Thank you.